Hey guys, Kurt from Time Machine Transport. Excuse me. This of course is my conspiracy side of my channel. So I'm sure a lot of people, or maybe not, have seen this uh, X or tweet or whatever you want to call it. Now, this came before the crash in Washington and in Philly. So I wanted to kind of elaborate on things. So people, when I was in my unit, we rode on Blackhawks and jumped from Blackhawks actually with parachutes. Yeah, it's possible and it's done. Um, you never see a ladder, if that's supposedly a ladder. You never see that coming down from the front of the helicopter. That never happens. It's going to be through your cargo door here, right? And it wouldn't be a ladder anyways. It'd be a rope. They'd fast rope out of that. Um, the only way, and even if it was a rescue, they wouldn't drop a ladder. They have cable lines or whatever the case is. You're talking about the Coast Guard or whatever. Hold on, Bubba. Um, Mr. Clyde, Mr. Clyde is jealous. So anyway, so that in itself is kind of weird, right? And just drop down to say go birds. Sorry, I'm talking with a lisp. I have my Invisalign braces and so here's the thing. It may appear to be a helicopter, right? It may appear to be that way. However, I don't think it's a helicopter at all. And it's definitely a message. It's not just a greeting or a post or a tweet, whatever you want to call it. It's a message. And so now you're seeing all those protests at the White House in LA, Houston, a lot of people are protesting about this current administration. Well, in one of the videos, so what I'm going to do is I have it printed up as well. So I'm going to actually, I'll just go to YouTube here. So there are lots of video out here talking about, the protests on, well, that's a badass car. The protests, just so on and so on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to X out of here and we are going to go to sorry, my typing skills are not that great. All right. So here is a picture of the Superdome. So if you take a look at that and you see this, it almost looks like they're the marks on the football field. It's got two big lines, and see right down the center there's a bunch of hashtags. So this, I believe, is not the running or the rungs on the helicopter. It's a track. That's why they carry it over here. It almost looks like an equal sign, but it's not. It's a continuation of the track, but they hide it by putting, which I would assume they're trying to do an image of maybe the rotor or the motor itself, and then obviously the top is the rotor blade, and then this back is the tail prop. Now, I don't, like I said, so you're looking at supposedly what it, at first glance it would seem to be a helicopter. You never see a ladder coming off of a helicopter. You just don't see it. I mean, has it been done? I'm sure it has. However, I don't see that being a helicopter and a ladder coming out of the pilot, the front where the pilots would sit, because you got a pilot and a co-pilot. Or are they both considered pilots? I don't know. Warrant officers, if you will. So what it looks like to me, like I said, this appears at first glance to be a ladder because the person's right there at the bottom. But then you see this. That is, you see, can't really point. Actually, you can see this right here and this right here. The yardage. Right? They're all the same size. And then in the middle, you have those hashes, right? Well, could the center of this be the numbers or whatever? Or the little hashtags? But that is definitely not, like I said, a helicopter. And I'm going to show you what it is. So it's either one, this image of the supposed ladder is that, all right? Or I'm going to look for something else here, and I will show you. Actually, here's another image of a different field. Or is that still the super? Oh, it's still the Superdome. You can see all the windows up top, or lights. Sorry. Same thing. It appears almost like that. Now, let's get to the real meat of it. Let me X out of here. And check this out. And you have a ladder going up to where was it the engineer or the conductor? I don't think it's, it might be the conductor. I don't know. Anyways, there's your ladder. And there's the front of the train. There's your ladder. There's the front of the train. Now, look at that. Now, the thing I thought was pretty intriguing was, hold on one second. I got to find it. No. Where was that image? It was on an Amtrak train. It was that white area where it's where the window would be. I'm trying to find the image. Let me put you on pause. All right, guys. Sorry about that. So I know that there's different countries, different style rail systems or whatever. So I went and I looked at modern day railways. I don't know if this is I know New Orleans does have a rail system that goes through it. But I'm thinking If you look at that right there, the slope of the black right there and the ladder, and then the little doorway, you have the contour here, the door possibly lower glass, upper glass, ladder going up into the train. Far-fetched? I don't know. You tell me. That's not a helicopter. It appears to be a helicopter. There's no way that's a helicopter. Can I say helicopter any more times in one sentence? Again, you got the ladder, the entry for the engineer or pilot, whatever you want to call it. And then I went into the protests happening all over the place. And what does it say right here? Go Birds. And I'm not sure why this person looks so odd. I mean, a stick figure like that. I've never seen a stick figure like that, especially with the head off. So are they indicating that something with a smiley face that they want as a smiley face is placed on the tracks? And then here's the other, just drop down to say, well, what are the chances that New Orleans, so right now, this is it would be what's happening with all the planes. And obviously, if you believe in the 9/11 theory that terrorists actually took down the Twin Towers, I don't think that's the case. But remember during that time, if you're my age, or if you're of a younger age and you saw the videos, remember when they showed just the one video camera for the one that went into the Pentagon? And they had all these businesses around the Pentagon that had their videos or the film or the footage or whatever confiscated by one of the three-letter agencies. And they just kept showing us just that one. So if you have multiple angles of that thing going into the Pentagon, and you're only putting out one video out of all those, and then the tapes have never been found, the ones that were confiscated. Well, look what happened over in D.C. with the latest crash thing, right? They only showed the one angle on that. And there is reports of there were multiple videos out there from surrounding businesses, people's dash cams, so on and so on. But we just see the one video. Again, you have all these businesses and only one video comes out, the one that they want us to see, right? So that right there is kind of telling. I don't believe that they that there were three people in the Black Hawk. I don't believe that. And they said like three. So they say there were 4 survivors. Then they said there were no survivors. I don't think that they would have a real person flying that helicopter and into the commercial jet. So you would have these three, and these conspiracy channels are saying, oh, they might have video of the people jumping out of the Black Hawk. So if it truly was an accident, and they did have live people in the Black Hawk, well, yeah, I mean, if you're 300 feet in the air, so they say, you definitely would jump out of a helicopter. But the distance from the helicopter to the jet, the aircraft, was way. I mean, I don't know how that pilot wouldn't have saw that big ass aircraft, right? Um, so it kind of tells me that, if it were staged by our trusty government, um, why would they leave 3 or 4 survivors to possibly go to the media in the future? Why would they do that? That makes absolutely no sense. And especially with all this AI stuff and hacking, all this other stuff, who knows what they're capable of doing? But the reason why I bring that DC crash up and the Philly crash, so the reporter on CNN, the night of the medical jet, Learjet that crashed in the city of Philly, um, this lady said that it was at a height of 1,600 feet and then plummeted, and it was like 11,000 feet a minute. Well, if you look that up and you calculate it, I think it's only like 125 miles an hour up to, depending on their takeoff speed or depending on what speed they reach once they got to 1,600 feet. So, but if they did, so say it was going 200 miles an hour, right? Well, NASCARs can go pretty darn fast, and so can Indy cars. But that thing looked like it was a complete missile, just hypersonic speed into the ground. And what was interesting to me was the lady said on the CNN, the reporter said it was at 1,600 feet. Well, if you want to really, really jump down a huge rabbit hole, imagine 1,600, 1,600, 1,600, and it was in Pennsylvania. Well, what's the address of the White House? 1,600 Pennsylvania. So that in itself is pretty interesting, right? But I think with all the jetliners and aircraft that are having all these issues, it would lead us to believe to look into the skies, right? Look into the skies, just like 9/11, right? So they're prepping us, or they're priming us to look into the sky, look into the sky, look into the sky. And it's going to happen on the ground. So because I showed you this, that's either a train track that continues, and it's actually, those are not rungs on a helicopter, that's a track. And that's why it continues up there to the equal sign that you think would be an equal sign, but it's this continuation of the track. But it's gone, the upper half of it, right? And then the rear is different. So my guess, well, not my guess, my theory, is they have us looking up in the skies because it just says just drop down to say go birds. So either one, that's football field signs or whatever you want to say, layout, or it's a train track. And so I looked up New Orleans, and they said that you can go to the Superdome by train car or rail car, whatever it was, in taxi or whatever the case is. But so the rail system goes right, well, I don't know if it's the rail system or the trolley system difference. I don't know. Is there going to be something happening on the outside, underneath, or on the ground? Everybody's looking in the sky, but nobody's looking down. And if you really look at the people that are bringing in all the illegal stuff, right? Not the people themselves, but the crooked people, right? The ones that are at the top of the ladder, cartel. If aren't they? They're seriously known for digging tunnels. Like They dig tunnels everywhere to get their stuff into the U.S. or even to free El Chapo, right? So they are the kings of digging. So is this underneath the stadium? I don't know, but something's very, very odd here. This is definitely a message, and it's not to go. It's not to Bird fans. It's the Go Birds, I believe, because it was posted on January 22nd or 26th. I'm sorry. That they're telling the birdies, because when you look in the sky, sometimes there's multiple birds. So they're telling their birds, go Birds. That means what? A deployment to all these areas and start protesting. LA, Houston, Atlanta, DC. And it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Again, 1600 Pennsylvania, right? The White House. I know it seems far-fetched to some, but I truly believe that's what it is. And here's another one. I'm going to put you back on pause and show you one more thing on the outside of the Superdome. Just let me look it up. All right, relating to the supposed ladder. Look at all these street poles or street lights that are placed symmetrically apart, and the lines that actually separate them, right? And you have a helicopter pad here, right? So say if that is a helicopter, that's right outside the Superdome. Also, I think it used to be called Mercedes Superdome before Katrina happened, I think it was. Now it's called Caesar Superdome. Hail to Caesar. That's interesting. But let's take a look at a couple other images. No, it doesn't really give us a good one. Looking for a full... Oh, and there's no name on this one. But again, you see the tracks. The tracks, right? I know it seems very strange or really maybe not believable. Well, here's another one. View images. You have more lines, more tracks. Those are steps. And I want to do one more thing. I'm going to put you on pause. All right, one thing you guys might want to look at is, which I think is possible, like people are like, oh, how would they plant explosives underneath there, blah, blah, blah. Well, you have the Superdome renovation, which wasn't that long ago, right? Well, at least that's when this article was. But I'm sure it wasn't that long that they completed, or the work has been going on before that date. I mean, that's, these cells or whatever, these people that don't like us, or maybe even our own government. I mean, very, very likely. They knew that the Super Bowl is going to be there, and what better way to plant something is by a huge construction project, right? So that in itself is pretty interesting. I mean, who's going to have their eye on that, right? So I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to check out the surrounding areas for construction. Let's see what brings up. Well, I didn't really find anything. I don't want to continue making this longer than it is. But it would be very interesting to check out what major construction is going on around the Superdome. And one thing I did actually read about was the Six Flags in New Orleans is being demoed. I don't know what the distance is from the Six Flags to the Superdome. I mean, that site's been abandoned for forever. anyways, just, put this into your taco and digest it. You know what I'm saying? So it, it definitely does not smell right. I think that, that is not a helicopter, or if it is a helicopter, the pad at the New Orleans Superdome, there's a helicopter pad right there. Could they have a Flight for Life standing by, or a military aircraft, or something like that? That's pretty telling, man. And that Go Birds, that's not for Philly fans. And just drop down to say, I don't know, guys. I would definitely look into this a little more. People are not, people that say they're protesting the Super Bowl, whatever the case is, they say that the Super Bowl is the most watched event in the entire world. So what better way to put the fear into the world that have something happen on live TV, right? I think, like I said, this is the conspiracy side of my channel. I think this is very, very plausible. Obviously, I can't guarantee it's going to happen, but something is, it just doesn't smell right. Anyways, please like and subscribe to the channel. Ciao.